approached me and were like, for the heavily tatted this series, I was like, okay, wow, I didn't think that I had got here. Hi, my name is Gossamer and I'm a fine artist and tattooer. My mom's Filipino, my dad is African American. So I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, so it's like really white, just isolated part of northeastern Pennsylvania. It was kind of tough growing up, not having a lot of other people I could relate to other than family. It seemed like it got a little bit easier when I went to college. I mean, I related to people on an artistic level, but it wasn't until I moved here to New York and kind of connected more with my ancestry through tattooing that I learned more and felt more comfortable in my body. So. When I was 17, I had designed some tattoos I wanted on myself because I knew I really wanted to see my work on skin, but I wasn't sure how to make that happen in the traditional model of a walk-in tattoo shop. So it wasn't until I realized people were marketing their own work and online that it was something that I could probably think about doing as well. So my first tattoo was that drawing that I talked about when I was 17. I didn't get it at first after I turned 18 because my dad threatened to not let me go to art school. And that's like why I didn't get tattooed until I was 27. But yeah, it's this drawing I made here. I designed it when I was a teenager, and I finally got it tattooed when I was 27. I'm 31 now. So I've only been getting tattooed since I was 27. You know, I spent a lot of time thinking about my body, and I'm also transgender, and it took time for me to like kind of reconcile a lot of that part of who I was. And so like just thinking about modifying my body was something I couldn't really fully grasp in the way that made sense from a not just teenager kind of way until after I had started my transitioning in 2014. So it took some time, but then we got there. As I transitioned, I'm non-binary. I had a double mastectomy, and I was like, is my body really is that really a permanent situation? Is that something I would regret when I thought about, being transgender and changing my body? And like, it was just like, no. It's like, just straight out no. Like, it's not like something that you just run into doing. Like, that's the right thing for you. And that's how as soon as I understood those things, tattoos felt like the same kind of, power to transform myself to be who I identify myself to be. I feel like we're all born with this avatar that we can modify if we want, and there shouldn't be any stigma around changing it if you, on the inside, want the outside to reflect the same thing. So that's how I felt when I went through my transitioning, and then as I, felt that power that I could empower myself to change my own body and be who I want to be, like covering myself in art just felt like more of that, and covering myself in my heritage and my hands and my face, and like recognizing these different parts of me that I had kind of ignored or felt ashamed about, with my body. So that was something really powerful about tattooing that I loved that I could do for myself, and being able to do that for others was also really important. And it's not just, a trans experience. I feel like anyone has that ability to change themselves and their body and their mind as much as well too. You get so comfortable with the way things are and the way your body or your mind is that you feel like it's too much work to change it. And it is a lot of work to change and to be the person that you really desire to be, or that is healthier for you. And going through all those things and really making those changes so I could be here today and not, and really like flourish as a human being it's not easy, and it takes a lot of power and courage, and you can't do it alone either. I needed everybody to help, and I felt like, it's the same thing when you're able to transform your body and really like let yourself show on the outside without being afraid of what that looks like.
You've done your face, you've done your neck,
Mm-hmm.
you did it yourself.
Yes.
And hand poked, right?
Yes, I do all my work hand poked. So when I started, I was like, I think I made a mistake. I was like, oh, am I gonna be able to do this? It's definitely a type of personal challenge for me because, you know, you're never gonna be in a position where you're tattooing a person, or well, you shouldn't be, where you like need a mirror and all this and like you don't have like 2 hands to stretch and things like that. Like that's never a situation where like if you're tattooing someone else, you need that kind of skill. Being able to do something of that at that skill level on yourself, like you only have yourself to like blame if you up. And some of it is just that thrill of being able to accomplish something technically difficult that I love about art in general. Because I think about my ancestors and how they built shit from scratch with just their hands and like limited tools, and like that ability and that attention to craft is so important to me. And that's what I think about when I'm doing something very technically difficult, like tattooing my neck or my face. You know, I thought for some reason that was a lot harder than I expected, because my hands were like in front of my eyes when I was like tattooing just 2 round simple dots, and you know, and just like even lining it up without like, you know, somebody else helping you is like, those types of things are difficult as well. Little things you never thought about that, you know, you take for granted when you are able to just look at a canvas and it's in front of you. But when your canvas is you, there's a different kind of perspective when you're thinking about it. These markings right on the center of my forehead, so those were based on North African tattooing. After I did this piece on my arm, had that done at a local shop, and I had like a small moon tattooed on my chest too on the same day. That was like my 3rd tattoo, was on my face. I was already learning a lot about, you know, my heritage through that way, and trying to be more connected to my Black heritage and my Filipino heritage, because growing up in a super like, you know, white part of the, you know, America, and not having a lot of people to talk to other than like your closest family members about, you know, what it means to be both those things, and not feeling like you belong to one or the other, was very difficult for myself. Just trying to reconcile like what that meant for me. And I feel like tattooing really helps me understand how to share both of those things and make them, you know, and just really feel like that is a part of me, instead of feeling like I need to fit in with the rest of what everybody else is doing, or the way people look, or XYZ. You know, when I learned about my heritage and how much that was like, and how much tattooing was like removed from our cultures with colonialism, I also had such a strong intent to try and preserve that in some way. And that's another reason why I love doing it hand poked, because that's as close as I can get with modern day techniques and sanitation and health and safety to the different kinds of techniques that, you know, in Africa and in the Philippines were done. It's really only recently that more attention has been brought to, like, even specifically Filipino tattooing, because of a little bit more research on the Kalinga people of the northern tribes, and Wang Od, who's a really old, one of the last tattooers. And that recent, you know, information and highlight in that area is like why I was able to learn more. I mean, I'm still trying my best to learn about different techniques in Africa, and it's hard to find that information without like a super white perspective on, like, and colonialist perspective on it. And it's really tough. Getting my face and hands tattooed made me feel like, you know, there's a way I can preserve this. There's a way I can communicate this to other people with it without trying to like rehash it or like reinterpret it, and just, you know, let it be what it is. And through tattooing, I've been able to connect with so many different kinds of people who also feel the same way as me, which I didn't expect, which is so important to me. And I'm just so glad I can try and help people in that way as well, because it's something that's really lost nowadays.
Do you regret any of the tattoos that you've got? I realize it's a short time span.
It is a short time span. No, I don't. I feel like everything could be transformed, you know? Like I did like this cover up on myself. There used to be tattoos that I got from somebody on here that were like drawings that I had done. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just not feeling it, you know? And like, especially like the composition. So I was like, you know, may as well just practice cover up on myself. It's like, whatever, you know? Like little things like that, especially since I have the ability to tattoo myself. I'm like, well, if it falls out, I'll just fix it. I feel like a lot of tattoos probably feel that way, but you know, I feel like there's always that power to transform myself, even if, you know, I get something from someone else. But like, even if that's the experience, like, you know, there's good scars and bad scars, you know, emotional ones. And I feel like there's always going to be a way to heal from that, especially after, you know, all I've gone through with, you know, both of that being visible and invisible scars. I think there's always a way to be able to empower yourself to get through it. It takes time for sure, but I think it's always possible.